Premier is here. Premier Heating and Air is offering rebates starting at $1,000 with the purchase of a new heating and air system. Upgrade your system before the summer heat is here. Premier Heating and Air offering free Wi-Fi thermostats included with the purchase of a heating and air system. And now pay just $89 for a system checkup. Experience the Premier difference today. Or log on to dublin.premierishere.com. Premier Heating and Air, a locally owned and operated company.
Welcome to the show. Today I got a good friend, Brian Bazemore, with me, Community Bank here. Brian, thank you for taking some time out today to come and chat with us. We're doing some series and talking to some local folks here about our banks and local banking and what that looks like. And but before we get into that, we're going to talk about the bank today and banking and all the changes and some of the stuff we were talking about even before we came on air today. In case we got somebody watching the show today and maybe they haven't had an opportunity to get to sit down with you one-on-one or have a few minutes to chat with you. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm Brian Bazemore. I'm President and CEO of Community Bank of Dublin-Laurens County, and of course our main office is the Citizens Bank of Cochran out of Cochran. We're in the old Adams Funeral Home building, and of course we've been there for quite some time now. And I guess most banks you can talk with anyone at any of the banks in town, and they'll tell you, most of them offer the same products and services. But what I feel like sets us apart from the others is our staff. And we've been able to hit several milestones, several achievements. We did that not because of necessarily me, but because of our staff and how they're able to take you and kind of guide you through the financial process, because there's so many aspects nowadays that people are so unfamiliar with. You don't learn a lot of times in school about how to balance a checkbook, or what do you need to do if you needed to borrow money, or what's necessary if you needed to go rent an apartment, or cell phones and things. All of that's based on credit.
Right.
And so, you need somebody to kind of guide you through that process, and that's what we're here for. It's not always about borrowing money or opening a checking account or a savings account. Sometimes you just need to come in and get some financial advice. And so that's what we offer. It's not all about, sure, it's about making money and it's about the business, but it's also about developing relationships with the community.
That's right. Brian, I want to back up just a little now, and we're going to go more into that bank, but I want to know about you. And even from a personal standpoint, where were you born? Tell me about family. And what were you just working somewhere one day, or did you go to school and from day one you said, I'm going to be a banker? Tell me a little bit about your story and how you got to where you are.
Well, kind of strangely, I did graduate from college, from Georgia College in Milledgeville, and at that time I really didn't know what I wanted to do, honestly. I think I'm like a lot of college kids at that time. I mean, when you're about to get out of college, you're like, well, what do I really want to do? I'm not really sure. My dad is Bruce Bazemore, and my mom is Cheryl Owens. And my dad, of course, he worked in the banking industry for many years at C&S Bank.
Okay,
and
I remember
so
C&S.
He kind of told me, he says, well, you need to look at some things and kind of see. Me working in the bank, I got exposed to a lot of different areas of the community. I got to meet a lot of new people and got to be involved in a lot of the community events and things that were going on. And so he said, you might want to look into something along the lines of banking or maybe insurance or something along that line. So he reached out to some of his colleagues, old colleagues, and people that he worked with that were at different banks at the time. And of course, I managed to get an interview, and I ended up getting a job with what used to be here in Dublin called Knight State Bank. And of course, they had an office over on North Jefferson Street, and of course the main office was out of Dexter.
Okay.
And so I worked there for a couple of years, and then I ended up looking for other opportunities, and an opportunity opened up at Morris State Bank. At the time it was called Morris State Bank. It's Morris Bank now. And of course I worked there for probably 6.5 years and kind of worked my way up from when I was at Knight State. I started at the bottom. I was a collection collections officer, and also worked on the teller line, worked in the back with proof, and worked in, just a little bit of everything. In small community banks, you do that. You learn a little bit about everything, which I'm very, very glad that I did,
Sure.
based on my position now. But after leaving Morris State Bank, I ended up coming to work for the Citizens Bank of Cochran. And of course, we didn't have a location in Dublin at the time, and so we ended up purchasing the old Adams Funeral Home building. And of course, we did an extensive renovation, probably invested over $2 million in that facility. And of course, it's a state-of-the-art facility with teller pods, and it's very up-to-date inside, but it has a very historical look on the outside. So, but I've worked my way up through the ranks, kind of a little bit along, going to all kinds of training and different things with Community Bankers Association of Georgia and Georgia Bankers Association, getting the necessary training in kind of all aspects of the bank. And so my former boss, Chuck Harwell, passed away in 2020 with COVID-related symptoms. And so upon his death, the board of directors voted to promote me to the position of president and CEO of the bank now. So that's kind of where I am at this point, and we've experienced a lot of wonderful growth from 2000 to 2025. We were probably about $116 million in asset size in 2020, which we are just about knocking on the door of $200 million in assets at this point. So I've gone in and made a bunch of changes, a lot of things, not that anything was wrong with the previous administration, but sometimes you want to make some changes just to kind of see how things go, or maybe do things your way and maybe make a few different changes that you feel like might make the bank better.
Right.
And so by doing that, we lowered our efficiency ratio tremendously. Our ROA has gone up significantly. We've made record income for the bank. All of the things that your owner wants to see happen, we've been able to achieve. So I'm very, very proud. And it's not about just me, though, but it's about my staff. And I could not do it without them and without their help. So, but we've achieved numerous awards. We've been in the top 20 of community banks in the state of Georgia.
That's awesome.
And we just won an award with S&P Global. We were out of the top 100 banks in the United States, we were number 96 in the S&P Global top 100 banks with assets less than $3 billion. So that's quite an achievement for a little small community bank where, you go in there and you think, well, it's just a little bank, but we can achieve great things. And that's what I try to tell my staff and let them understand, that you might be working for a small community bank, but we're big enough to achieve some really big goals.
Well,
so.
and like you said, it's so important not to say I changed something that we were doing wrong, but there are new things each and every day. We have to do the same thing in our role here at the Chamber. We had a great foundation laid way before I ever got here, but you have to constantly innovate and change and look ahead and look to what the future has to offer. So kudos to you guys for being not only responsive but proactive in looking at those things. Brian, talk to me a little bit about your team. You've mentioned your staff there quite a few different times. As the CEO at the bank there, what are you guys looking for today when you're hiring new people to come in and be a part of your organization? What are some of the most important skill sets and things that you're looking at?
Well, I'll be honest, it's a challenge today with hiring new employees. We want to make sure that whoever we hire first will fit in with the culture of the bank. We want to make sure that everybody's going to get along, that we're not going to have an issue with that. But one of the biggest hurdles I think that we have encountered is the fact that a lot of the new applicants that we have, maybe they'll stay at place of employment for maybe 2 years. Then they jump to the next time. They want to go, and they'll stay there maybe 2 years. And then it's like a 2-year trend is one of the things that I've noticed with a lot of my new applicants that have applied. And I think sometimes it might be more of a euphoric feeling or what have you, but they'll get in there that first year and get some training in under their belt, and then the second year a little bit more training, and then the rubber meets the road and it's time to hit the ground running, and then they want to go back to that euphoric feeling of the training. And that's one of the biggest obstacles. I look for someone who's stable in the employment, been on their prior job for a little bit of time, somebody that I feel like that if we're going to invest the time and the energy into that employee, that we're making a good investment, that they're going to be with us, that they're going to stay with us. We offer great opportunities as far as our benefit package, things that a lot of the other banks don't offer. And by having those benefits, that has allowed us to be able to retain our employees for quite some time. I've got some that have been with the bank over 30 years. I've been with the bank 20 years. My EVP's been with the bank 19 years.
Yeah.
Eve Faircloth has been there for 18 years. So we've got some long tenured employees, and to me that says something. It shows that we have got experience in the bank to help customers with any of the needs that they may have, any questions they may have. You're not going in to talk with somebody that's new. You've got experience that can help you through whatever kind of financial issue you're dealing with.
Yeah, I think that's important, and people do like to see a familiar face. I was talking with one of our other CEOs about people coming in the bank today, and to me that's still important. I think you still see that quite a bit here, maybe not as much in a metro city, I don't know, but I think our folks like to come in, they like to see their banker, they like to see tellers, they see people, they know people, familiar faces, and it just makes you feel comfortable. And of course, if you were looking at securing a loan or some major investment, you like to know the people that you're talking to and have a relationship with them.
Exactly.
So in your name, it says Community Bank. And that's what you guys are. So Brian, we're going to take a real quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Allen's Heating and Cooling is your licensed Amana equipment dealer. Trust Allen's Heating and Cooling to install and service your heating and cooling unit. Allen services all brands, and with the purchase of a new Amana, offers a lifetime compressor warranty. Call Sean Clark or any of his friendly staff at Allen's Heating and Cooling, your Amana dealer. Amana lasts and lasts and lasts.
Hi, we're Dion and Gary Lanton. We're the new owners of Luann's Biscuits and Burgers. We want to invite you guys to come out to our newly renovated dining room. We're open 5:15 a.m. through 10:45 a.m. Monday through Saturday for breakfast. We now offer delivery and pickup online at our website, luannbiscuits.com. You can go through our menu, order anything that we have on the menu right there, have it delivered to you where you are. We're at 1010 Telfair Street. So come on out, the coffee is hot, best in Lawrence County, the biscuits are fresh, the doors are open. We invite you to come back to Luann's.
Welcome back to the show, Brian. Again, thank you for taking time out to come and sit with us today. I know another thing that's really important, and we are so grateful here, especially in Dublin and Lawrence County, with the banks. We have so many banks. We have a lot of banks here. But not only do they grow and prosper, but you guys work well, even among the other banks. I see you helping one another out when we have, whether it's a golf tournament, a chamber membership appreciation day, just working hand in hand together so many times. And I think that leads into what I'm getting to here, but the importance for the bank in community support and how you guys offer, whether it be manpower or monetarily, how do you give back to the community?
I think giving back to the community is extremely important. We focus a lot on being active in our civic organizations, which, of course, as many of you know, they do a lot of community work. I've been a member of the Dublin Civitan Club for many years, and they build wheelchair ramps. They help with children with special needs. I have several of my staff members that are involved in that organization. Of course, we're big in the St. Patrick's Festival. That's one of the biggest events that Dublin-Laurens County puts on, and you know, I think that it's very important to be active. I'm a former chairman of the festival, and so I know what's involved. I know the work that it takes to put that festival on. So, but we try to be involved in, of course, the Dublin-Laurens County community and also the Bleckley County community as well, to just make sure that we are active, that we are seen, that we do make donations and things like that to try and help different events and organizations and things that we feel like are important, you know. And of course, if you bank with us, we want to help.
Right. Well, and it's so important. Again, I just can't state enough the importance, you know. Sure, we, as from a chamber perspective, and everybody in the community, we appreciate our industry and our large industries and the jobs and the tax base and the things that they provide. And not to say that they don't support and give back in the community, but usually when it's your yearbook ads, when it's your fence on the sign at the ball game, when it's that's usually a local entity that's doing that. That's the banks, that's the people that are here every day, and you realize the importance of that success, and you guys certainly contribute there. Here at the Chamber, we appreciate your support and your investment at the Chamber, and even the manpower. Again, you guys have ambassadors with us each year and have been doing that for a long time with us, and so thank you for that support as well. I'm going to switch gears just a little bit because you just can't hardly talk about anything today without talking about technology. Talk to me about, since you've been in banking for quite a while, the impact of technology, and is there any fear today with cybersecurity and people hacking? And let me say thank you, by the way. We do some banking with you guys, and we had an issue, and it's not a matter, I don't think, of if you're going to have an issue anymore in banking. It's when. We had somebody hack into our checking account at the bank, and appreciate your team helping us with that, working with us, and getting us through that. And I would say it was as painless of a issue as it could be. So we really appreciate the good work and the help of your folks there. But talk to me about security and technology in the bank.
Well, I think that probably that's the scariest thing that people deal with, is my money safe? Are we protecting everybody's money and their safety, their privacy, all of those things? And things have definitely changed over the years. I remember way back 20, 30 years ago, we didn't have these same issues. But as we develop with technology and as things change, criminals change too. So they try to stay one step ahead of everybody. So we constantly have to be on the cutting edge with training and making sure that we have the latest technology to detect fraud and be able to help in that particular area. But it's very easy to bank anywhere now with technology. You don't have to go into a brick and mortar facility anymore if you don't really want to. You've got online banking, you've got the ability to deposit checks into your account. You don't have to actually make a trip in to deposit a check. There's just so many ways to bank now to where it makes it convenient and easy. And a lot of the younger generation prefer not to go into the bank. You see more of the older generation going in because I think sometimes they just like to come in and see the friendly faces and be able to talk with their banker and their friends. We become more than just a banker, we become your friend. So, but things have definitely changed. Fraud is really bad right now. You really need to make sure that you monitor your statements when you get your statements in the mail. Make sure that your transactions are your transactions. People, they can go in there and there could be a breach at any department store or any type of a place like that where you use your debit card, and then they don't have the firewalls and the protections that they need to have in place that can capture your information, and then they can sell it out on the black web, you know, and then you're compromised. People's information has most likely been compromised at some point. And so with that being the case, you just have to be a lot more diligent now about looking at your statements and making sure that you don't have issues or fees or charges or anything that's not yours.
Right. So let me ask you, and this is a little different question. I don't even know if there's a fair answer for this question. Would you say your IT, your security people at your bank, is it more important to focus on the prevention of a fraudulent act, or is it more important to focus on, well, we know these things are going to happen, let's make sure we have processes in place when they do happen to get our customer back on track and have things to return to what normal would look like as quick as possible? Is there one more important? Is there more time spent on one more so than the other?
I think they're both equally as important.
Okay.
I think you need to have some preventative measures in place. You need to have technology in place. Most banks have technology to be able to go in and find out if people are trying to do something with money laundering or fraud or all of those types of things. And we have staff that monitor that type of information on a daily basis. Our bank, our location, we're very fortunate because we have an IT person. We actually have 2 IT employees that help with our location, and we're part of a 4-bank holding company. So our holding company owns 4 state chartered banks within the state of Georgia. So they have a holding company employee staff as well that works in the IT area to make sure that we're constantly monitoring things. I mean, we get people trying to hack us all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And so we have to have that staff in place to make sure that we've got firewalls in place, that we've got these protections that not only protect the bank, but protect our customers as well.
Well, and I want to make sure people realize that, even though we're talking in all of our shows that we're doing right now with the banking folks or local banks, but to make sure that somebody does understand, and this is not a knock against any national bank, but know that if you're banking locally here, you've got the protections, you've got the things in place. I know we get calls if a lot of times we have to have multiple signatures on a check, and even if my signature is on that check, but I've got a new board member or somebody that's come on and maybe we forgot to add them to the signature card. I've had phone calls to say, hey, I just want to check this signature. We hadn't seen this before, and I appreciate that. And people say, I hate to inconvenience you, but no, you're not inconveniencing me at all. I appreciate that.
Right.
I want to cover one more thing before we take our next commercial break, and this is something that you hear jumbled up and thrown in on the end of a TV commercial sometime or at the end of the radio commercial, and it'll say FDIC insured, da-da-da-da-da-da, and so there's an amount, there's a level of investment that's insured at each bank. For somebody that's watching that maybe just doesn't understand how important that is and what that means, talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, it's very important, and they will insure you up to $250,000. So if you and you can structure your deposits a certain way too to get a little extra coverage if you would like, and the bank can certainly help you in telling you certain ways and of being able to set it up so that you are covered.
Okay.
We do offer, our bank offers a program that is called an IntraFi or a reciprocal deposit program as well. And so if you have deposits that are greater than $250,000, you are able to go in and opt into this particular program, this IntraFi reciprocal deposit program, and you're able to have your money placed at other banks. You still operate through our bank to handle the transaction that you may have, but if you have deposits that are greater and you want to make sure you fall under the $250,000 threshold, you can opt into this particular program if you would like, and it will place the deposits into other banks that are underneath that $250,000 threshold.
Okay.
So you could put technically
Diversifying
several
a little
million
bit.
dollars into our local bank, and your money would be covered. And if you needed to get that money out, you can come back to us and we can get that money out just as easily as you put it in.
Okay.
So it's not like you're losing your money. It's not like the program operates that the banks that are taking these deposits, they send deposits back to our bank so that we never really lose the deposits. They stay and they just reciprocate around,
Gotcha.
you know, and so that we make sure that our customers are covered and we're covered, you know, making sure we're covered as well.
Brian, is that, if I have a $250,000 CD in the bank, and then I have a separate $50,000 savings account, am I still covered on both because those are two separate accounts, or is my total in your bank $300,000 and I'm only covered up to $250,000?
So up to the $250,000,
Okay.
Unless you decide to add, you know, position it
Right.
a different way, you know,
Okay.
and of course the staff at the banks can help with, you know, how you could make sure that you're covered.
Fantastic.
So whether that be you add another person onto the account, or whether that, you know, you go in and add that into the IntraFi network.
Okay.
You know, there are several options that you can consider.
Okay, and one more thing, and then we'll take a commercial break. I heard a young man the other day. I was at a concert, and I overheard a conversation, but he was so happy, and he was bragging to some extent, telling his dad that he'd gotten up to 680 on his credit score, and I just thought to myself, I don't know that that's something to be proud of, but I don't know, maybe for somebody, he was a younger person, 20, 19, somewhere in that ballpark. But talk to me just a little bit about that credit score, and make sure that people, maybe a younger person or somebody's watching today that really don't understand the importance of a credit score, and then what is a good credit score if you're looking at purchasing a house or some larger investment versus maybe a $2,000 or $3,000 investment. What does that need to look like?
Well, you need to really look and see, well, what credit agency is your bank pulling from? Because there are several different credit reporting agencies. Primarily in this area, you will look at Equifax is the primary one that you get your credit pulled through. But you have other ones, and they'll do a triple merge on like a mortgage where they pull all of them in. But 750 or higher is kind of the threshold where you want to try to push to get.
You would say good credit.
I would say that's really good credit.
Okay.
At 750 plus.
Okay.
But you got other factors that play into this. It's not always just about credit, and that's
Right.
one good thing about community banks, is that we can help guide you through that process too. Your debt to income is very important. You don't want to overextend yourself. You know, a lot of times people just don't understand that. They say, oh, I want to go out there and get, you know, this or that, but they don't understand that you've got to make sure that you have got, you know,
Or
your
you pay
debt
for it.
ratio falls
Yeah.
in the right place so that you can afford to live and pay these bills,
Right,
you know,
right.
so very important. But 750 or higher is what I would say, strive to achieve that level, and you most likely, as long as you keep your debt to income in proportion, you're not going to have
good.
any issues being able to get anything that you would
Okay,
want.
and then really briefly, and especially for the younger folks, and we try to work in our schools and things as much as we can to help teach this, but what are the things that would help this person build that credit score? What do they need to do to build and grow that credit score?
Well, if you don't, one of the biggest things that we hear is, I don't have credit. How am I going to get credit? You know, because that's sometimes the reason for being turned down is you don't have any credit or don't have enough credit. So one of the things that you can do is that you can have someone, it doesn't have to be a parent, it could be anybody that would maybe be willing to sign with you to kind of get your credit started. Maybe borrow a small amount, pay that money back, you know, over the course of several months, which will help establish a payment history.
Okay.
And that'll help to start building that credit.
So not borrowing money and paying it off in 2 weeks.
That's right.
But
It
have a
needs to
6
be over the
months or
course
a
of
year
several
or
months.
something.
That's
Yeah,
right.
okay.
Another option would be if you don't have anybody that could sign with you, and you're just, you know, it's kind of you're on your own. You could always look and consider maybe borrowing, say, $1,000 and placing that into a CD, which will earn you a little bit of interest, and then borrow against the CD, you know, which it's the best
And
way to
make your
borrow
payments.
money at a
Yeah.
lot lower interest rate,
Right.
typically. And you're able to still pay that money back, and then at the end, you've still got your money.
Right.
You know, you've got some savings that you've been able to achieve as well. So another way to build it a little bit along. So
Great.
I know I had a small credit card when I first got my credit started, and Of course, I paid that back every time, and of course, I'd say try not to carry credit card debt if you can. Try to pay that debt off every single month if you get a balance on there.
Right. But to start out, it's not a bad idea.
It's not. I just wouldn't overextend myself
Right.
with them. Get one, and then maybe make a couple of payments, then pay it off. On a credit card, because typically that interest rate's going to be a lot higher. So
I realize you made me think way back when my first credit card, I was K Jewelers, and got me a little credit card, bought me a necklace. I think it was $200 or something on there. It took 6 months to pay $49 a month, which was cutting about $9 a month off of the actual principal there. But it did help to build, grow, and establish credit. And it was one of those things, and again, a different generation. We were talking a little bit about how things have changed. I hate to even say I remember this, but I remember being so excited the first time I went to my mailbox and there was a bill in the mailbox and it had my name on it. I was like, wow, I have a bill to pay. I've arrived. Not so excited these days when I go to the mailbox. But anyway, Brian, we need to take one more commercial break and then we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Tom Dominy. Here at Dublin-Laurens, we pride ourselves on providing the industry's highest quality products at the most competitive pricing. We are a full-service wholesaler specializing in plumbing, irrigation, and industrial products. With a staff that collectively offers more than 50 years of expertise, our team knows your industry, and we can answer your questions and help you get the parts and equipment you need. From Moen to Renee, we carry the plumbing, irrigation, and industrial products you need from the brands you trust. We also carry a great lineup of Milwaukee tools. At Dublin-Laurens, our goal is the long-term success of your business. We achieve that goal with a simple commitment, doing things right, one customer at a time. If you have a question, or if you're looking for a hard-to-find part, give us a call. Our experts are ready to help. Order online, give us a call, or come by at 507 Airport Road in Dublin. We're committed to building long-term relationships with our customers by earning your business every day.
Mid-State Pools and Spas is Middle Georgia's most trusted pool builder. Whether it's in-ground or above, you can count on Mid-State Pools and Spas for all your pool needs, including outdoor furniture. From pool chairs to patio furniture, Mid-State Pools and Spas carries Telescope and Polly's Island. So call or come in today to Mid-State Pools and Spas. Now open Monday through Friday 9 to 5 and Saturday 9 to 1.
All right, welcome back, Brian. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed our conversation and our chat today. We were talking a little bit about FDIC and credit and maybe trying to help younger people. It doesn't have to be younger people. Sometimes older people need to rebuild their credit. So important things for people to know, which leads me into my next question, and I love to ask our bank CEOs. I get to share a lot with my peers in the chamber world, being in the industry for a while, but I think it's important. We have a class that's called Lessons Learned, and we get to share some lessons learned as a CEO. So maybe for a younger person that's out there today watching the show, maybe even a more seasoned or veteran person, what would your lesson learned that you would share as a CEO?
one of the things that I feel like has helped me probably more than anything else is if you find a career path that you are interested in, I would say go in there and learn every single aspect of that business or every single area of that particular business. Had I not started kind of at the bottom and worked my way up through the years and kind of taken that kind of a path of learning and being kind of like a sponge and absorbing as much of the information as I could. I've been very fortunate over the years to have prior bosses that were very focused on education. So I took advantage of every opportunity that I had to learn as much as I could about every single aspect of the bank. And by doing that, when this tragedy happened with Chuck passing away, it allowed me to be able to step right in, and I had a lot of the knowledge that I needed. I still had some things to learn,
Sure.
but of course we're always learning, and we're always trying to make ourselves better. but it allowed me to be able to step into that role and be able to have a better understanding of what needed to be done and how we could pick up the pieces and start moving forward, at that point. So I would recommend highly learn every single thing you can about the business, about the job duties, and not just about the job maybe that we're hired to be in, but focus on learning other areas. Show some initiative. Step out of that little box and show that you're interested and that you're motivated and that you've got that drive. That's what a president and a CEO of a company is looking for. They're looking for those employees that have that drive that they know are going to take their company to the next level.
Yeah, I love that, and especially the fact that you said learning all of the different aspects and the different roles. Sometimes if somebody's coming to you and they're working in a position and they have an issue with what they're doing, if you've never been there, you may not be able to understand or comprehend exactly what that issue is. But if you've been there yourself, you can relate to that and probably offer a lot more viable solution to that. And then to your other point, and I just want to say this for our younger folks again that may be watching, but that's not my job. Oh, it just oozes of arrogance and laziness. I hate that's not my job. Learning and cross-training and learning those other jobs, because who knows when your job, unfortunately one day, because of technology and different things, we may not need this role. But if you've taken that initiative and that time to learn all the other jobs, now you're also a much more valuable employee to your employer. So great tip there, appreciate that. I want to close out by giving you an opportunity, look into the camera and just tell our folks why they would choose, whether it be for employment or for banking, to come see you at Community.
Well, I just want to say that we appreciate this community. We appreciate the chamber. I feel like that we are very active in our community. I feel like that we offer a lot of benefits at our bank, whether it be financial advice or whether it be benefits for employment. We have a lot of things to offer, not only the local community and all, but we're able to offer employees opportunities as well. We believe in being active. We believe in being, motivated to get involved and to do the things that need to be done to show that we are a part of this community, that we do want to be a part, and we want to make sure that we treat our employees the right way and make it where it's more of a family environment, to where you want to come to work. It's not a chore, but you want to come to work because we are a family.
Thank you. Thank you for your time today. I appreciate your investment in our community and in your folks and our folks in this community. And we thank you for joining us as well, helping us make today and every day another great day for business in Dublin and Laurens County.